All right. Good morning, everybody. It's Mignon. I'm out on my morning stroll again, wanting to wish everybody a wonderful and blessed day. And I'm hoping and praying that we all woke up on this side of the kingdom. And I just want to give this message and share this with you today, something that I experienced and I'm experiencing in my new walk, my new ministry, my new mission that God has me on. This is difficult for me because this leadership ministry is new for me, and finding out that you're not just in leadership to minister to the people, but to intercede for the people. That's a little different. It's a little different because you're dealing with a spiritual aspect of what's going on in the world, and not everybody is actually seeing the kingdom and being kingdom-minded. We say we are, but I'm starting to question. I'm starting to feel by myself. One of the things that I wanted to share is never shrink your ministry for anybody and what God has called you to do, even when it's not the most favorable thing, even if the information that you're providing, the messages that you're providing to people, the missions that God has you on is not always going to be comfortable. It's not always going to be, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm getting used to Facebook Live, so bear with me. Yesterday, my husband tells me I need to find a community that understands what I'm going through, because I have people that are close to me, and I know people can't make me feel a certain type of way, but when you're called to leadership ministry and your own people and the people who are close to you don't recognize who you are and who God has called you to be, it hurts. It hurts when you have someone tell you that they don't think it's God you're hearing from. It's okay. It's okay for us to hear from demonic spirits. It's okay for us to hear voices in our heads that they want to medicate us for. But when it comes to hearing God and hearing His assignments and missions for you, for somebody who used to rely on and call when you need counseling and help, someone who has known you all of your life, known you to be sane, to tell you that who you are hearing from may not be God, knowing that time and time again He has given me insight and revelation to people's lives to go share that has come to pass. Even the most unpleasant things that I had to share, like with my father's illness and his death, when I had to go to him and tell him to get reconnected with God so he won't die alone, for him to not do it and do just that, to end up getting sick and end up being in a house, in a vacant house for 8 days, dying. Years later, after I gave him that message telling him that the Lord needs him to reconnect, to watch friends and family when the Lord asked me to tell them some things that are not favorable, and then to watch them not act on it and see it come to pass, it hurts. It hurts. It put me in the mind of the story about Jesus when he was in the synagogue teaching and healing. And the Pharisees got mad. And his mother and brothers came to get him from his ministry because they thought he was crazy. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But I'm telling you right now, I have no intentions on shrinking. I have no intentions on shrinking. I don't care how crazy it may sound. Whatever mission God has for me, whatever mission for the kingdom that he has for me, that's exactly how I'm going to live my life. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell as many people about Jesus as I possibly can and what he has done for me and who he is turning me into and the relationship with God that I have because of him. I'm not going to shrink. I'm not going to shrink. And the people closest to me want me to shrink. They don't want me to say the things that he gives me to say, even when I say I'm going to say what my Father says. I don't want to say what I want to say because what I want to say, you're not going to like. But what the Father says and how he says it and what he wants me to say is only for the good of the kingdom. I'm not out there just running up to people saying, I got a word from God from you. This is not it's not fun right now. Because it seems like the things that he's having me share with people are not pleasant. I had someone tell me yesterday, you always bring, what you're saying is not pleasant, but I can't help that. But you can in your life by listening to God and doing what he has asked you to do. And that's all. That is all. And it hurts. It hurts. To watch people not listen, it hurts. And I'm hoping and praying that that he's sending me through the hard and tough stuff, so when he gives me something to give to somebody, that the message will be pleasant, that it would be joyful, I have to come to the terms that it's not always going to be easy, but he's here with me. And I just find it interesting. And if I'm hearing voices, it's okay for people to think that it's not God. Man. So my husband says, like I said, to find a community. Some denominations call him prophetess. I prefer revealer. And if anybody out there is going through the same thing, being new to this, feeling weird and out of place because you're starting to see the world through kingdom lenses and not through society's lenses, I guess I'm tired of feeling like I'm by myself, And if there's anybody out there that is new and have been called to ministry, and it's intercessory ministry, to get with me, because my mission is to do whatever God's mission is for me. And I'm looking for people who are wanting to do the same. Because I'm seeking a different kind of relationship with God and a different kind of relationships with my brothers and sisters. Relationships that are meaningful, that'll help them get through this life. I'm new to Facebook, so I'm sorry if I'm dragging on but I got to get through this. process of getting used to being in front of the camera. And contrary to what most people believe, I'm not as comfortable as you would think I am. But the other day, we were observing Shabbat because me and my husband has decided to observe Sabbath like God intended. And we had the pleasure of having my son Robbie at the table with us that day. And my son Robert asked, because he's always trying to be so philosophical, and I don't know if they still call it woke or not, but he had asked us, if we only had a week to live, what would we do? And I know that my answer sounded holier than thou, but it was the truth, and the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I let him know that I would spend that week doing exactly what God has designed me to do. And I know that sounds holier than thou, if you want to call it, but that's how I would spend my last week. And if it's telling people about Jesus, that's exactly what I'm going to do. A lot of people don't understand revelation because everybody and their mother is coming out with prophecy and revelation and a word from God. But I kid you not, I do not pass that word along unless I fast and pray. And I'm not always willing and quick to pass along this message. But this, and getting revelation is not from being special. You know, it comes from seeking God's face and wanting a closer relationship. So it's not like, oh, I think I'm all that, I'm hearing from God. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. It's a relationship that anyone can have with him, you know, because the word says, and I'm sorry, my mouth is dry. I'm out here walking and it's getting hotter and hotter. Okay. The word says, ask and it will be given, to seek and you'll find, and knock and the door will be open to you. And that door, Jesus Christ, is open for me. And I'm walking through even if no one else does. So when it comes down to your ministry, don't shrink for nobody. You do as God assigned you to do. And that's getting out there, telling people about Jesus, because we don't have a lot of time. And if I only had a week left to live, that's exactly how I would spend my week. I want to thank everybody for listening to my rant this morning. And I promise you the next one, well, since I'm going to say whatever my father tells me to say, I can't promise that it's going to be a completely and totally uplifting message. When we are being spanked and told to change our ways, we don't want to hear that one. We don't want to hear that one. And that's including me sometimes. But I want everybody to have a blessed week. And I thank everybody for staying on and listening to my rant. And I love everybody. And I just want to also say that cherish your life. Cherish the time that God has given. Cherish the people in your life that God has put before you. Kiss your husband. Kiss your loved ones. Be good to strangers. Do those things that He has asked for us to do. Loving our God and loving our neighbors. Do that. That brings joy. And so I want to also end it with praising God and giving Him all the glory and all the praise. And I got to get used to doing that in everything that I do, because you don't know if that loved one is going to wake up in the morning. You don't know if they're going to live another day. You don't know if you're going to live another day. Do what God needs you to do. Do what He says for us to do. And I love you, and have a blessed day. Bye.